Hello everyone, welcome back. And as you can see, I'm wearing something a little bit different right here. These are a couple of rings, which is what this episode is going to be about. Yeah, so rings are pretty cool. I like making them. Unfortunately, I don't have very good technology. And most of what people use to make rings, a little bit more technically advanced. Though actually I have improved my technology recently. I myself have two processes of making rings, depending on the material and what I'm working with. That's a little bit redundant. Anyway, one of the materials I use is pipe. Steel pipe. Galvanized steel pipe. Don't try to forge galvanized steel, even though I do. It lets off toxic zinc fumes. I wouldn't want any of y'all getting hurt. Pipe is one of the materials. Another material I like to use is just sort of cast pieces. And so far I haven't actually cast an actual ring, but I've casted several things that I've made rings out of. I also make rings out of pipe. In fact, that's most of what I used to make rings out of back before I did bronze. I did bronze in hopes that it wouldn't leave a rust ring, when in fact bronze is famous for doing that. Other methods though that other people use, which are probably much better, they use lathes. They stock remove using a big spinny thing, which is great because then you could actually get a good perfect circle, which I have not really been able to do. I mean, pipe's pretty easy to do that with. Everything else, so you just kind of gotta guess. But another thing that people do, and this is similar to what I do, but a lot better and a lot more efficient, is precise casting. For instance, the people that make gold rings, because I would shudder to think of stock removing on a gold ring, usually pretty much just cast and polish. They do a little bit of cutting on it, but man, they are careful to make efficient use of it. And generally speaking, for higher end rings, they're probably going to be cast and then polished. Very little stock removal, because again, you don't want to do any of that on something like gold or silver. It's ludicrous. So some things that have helped me also in my ring making have been, for instance, actually some of the tools I use. This here specifically, this is a ring sizer, ring mandrel, with different sizes on it. It goes all the way up to 13 and all the way down to 0. I don't know who would wear a 0, but wow. That's a small ring size. But I fit somewhere in this range, depending on what finger. Guess I'm pretty average. But yeah, so that's helped me a great deal. I no longer just have to kind of just sort of wear and guess, because then you start getting into the danger size, which is another thing I'm going to cover. The effect that sanding has on rings. So, you might stock remove all the way down to what you need, if you do things the way I do it. You might stock remove all the way down and then get to the point where you're like, okay, this fits. Well, you still gotta sand, and that does take off a little bit of material. So always when making rings, just sort of consider the effect that sanding will have. It'll take off just a little bit, and it might be a little bit too loose, so that, you have a good fitting ring by the end of it. So, I've been a little bit ambiguous about the whole pipe ring thing. So, off a length of pipe like this isn't galvanized, this is just coated in that black stuff they use for gas pipes. I've also used this, by the way. But, I usually cut off a section, probably about ½ inch at most, probably closer to more like a 1/4 inch. Cut off about a 1/4 inch of pipe and then just sort of expand it using a punch that expands toward the top. And usually whenever I get pretty close to my ring size, I get there. Can't really do that with bronze. It doesn't like to expand, or at least every time I've tried it has failed miserably. In fact, I actually have a couple of pieces of one of those failed attempts right here. This is from the nickel, aluminum, and copper alloy that I have. The one precise alloy that I've cast so far. So, this was one failed attempt, but there are several others that have just been remelted. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to say about rings. I mean, I haven't really done any stone setting yet, but if I do, that will definitely get its own video. So, with that, thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.